I'm a little bit tired. Sorry for that, guys. I've had a long day. I need to drink something. I'm not sure if you can hear it. Hi, my name is Indy Midsight. I'm a photographer and filmmaker, and in this video, I will talk to you about the Sony fx6 and if it's suitable for funerals. The Benro KH26P, and that is not a frame rate. It's the new tripod from Benro, the new series, and the road reel film competition where I submitted a film to. So let's start off with the road reel film competition. I've had a lot of comments from you guys, a lot of nice comments, and I'm really happy that I was able to make this film and make something that you guys liked. And sadly enough, I didn't win the competition, but on the other hand, I actually won a little bit because there were so many nice comments and I got to share a story of so many people. Last year I did a little bit more than 200 funerals. It's a lot, and you know, I'm happy that I got to help other people. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's in the description. I'm a little bit tired. Sorry for that, guys. I've had a long day. I need to drink something. I'm not sure if you can hear it. By the way, I got this merch from Rode. I got some other stuff as well. Not sure what I think about it, but you know, it's always nice to have stuff. But I'm not sure if I have a hat face. If you think I don't have a hat face, let me know in the comments. Then I will leave the hat off. I will put it down, and I'm only talking about the hat. The rest of the clothing stay on, guys. Sorry for that. Just had to be clear. So next up, the Sony fx6. I got it like 2 weeks ago, and I was actually pretty late to the party because I ordered the camera back in December, end of December, when they released the video of the fx6. When it was announced, I wasn't too sure because it was almost the same camera as the A7S III. Okay, it's a different camera because this is a cinema camera and the other one is a mirrorless photo style camera. I don't know, there are some differences to it, but I wasn't sure if I was going to spend 2,000 more on the fx6 because the other camera was already pretty expensive, and this one is even more. So yeah, I wasn't sure about it, but I'm happy I did, and I will explain why. The last few months, like since the beginning of March, actually halfway March, the 16th of March, I had the first funeral. Not the first funeral in my life, but the first funeral of the during the pandemic. I right now have shot more than 200 funerals, and I've used a few different cameras. In the beginning, I actually spent money on a XAVC HS. I wasn't too happy about that camera because it sucked a little bit. It had a terrible screen, terrible codecs. The quality was terrible. Sorry, but it just wasn't a great camera. And then I started looking at the Sony Z90, and because you know, you have to understand the whole story. When the pandemic started, a lot of things were sold out. So all the external devices to live stream and live stream capable cameras were already sold out. So that's why I started with a JVC, because there was one available on the internet. But we went over to the Sony Z90, and I'm really happy I did, because it's a way better camera. At first, I tried to live stream from the camera itself without extra devices, external devices. But I've had some problems where I was live streaming a funeral and the connection dropped. And the weird thing is, then there will be a message on the screen where it says reconnect or close. If you reconnect and you're not able to reconnect to the internet, the recording stops as well. So I wasn't too happy about that. So I immediately, because I like the camera, I like the Z90. It was pretty small and it had a long lens, and the quality was just way better than the JVC. So I started to look for a external device where I could live stream on, and I bought a LiveShell X, and later I also bought a LiveView Solo. And I'm using both actually. It really depends on what kind of projects I'm shooting. Sometimes they both have pros and cons, of course. I wish I could mix and match those two together to get the perfect external device for live streaming, but I cannot. The Z90 is a pretty nice camera. It has a lens from 29 millimeters to 340, I guess, and that's in full frame equivalent. And it's a pretty nice camera. But the thing with this camera is that when I'm live streaming, I'm not able to film in 4K, and not that you need to film funerals in 4K. 1080p is just fine, I guess, but sometimes I just need that little bit extra, and I think that the footage isn't looking sharp enough sometimes. So that's why I just want to film in 4K and later deliver it in 1080. That's already way better than shooting in 1080. That's why I wanted to look at other cameras, because when you put the camera in 4K, when you put the Sony Z90 in 4K, you're not able to have signal through the HDMI or SDI cable, except there is an option. You can choose whether to see the viewfinder, the electronic viewfinder, or the LCD, or that you want the signal, to the external devices. That's not just an option. So that's why I actually started looking at the fx6, because the fx9 is way too heavy and too bulky, and the fx6 is pretty lightweight. It's a pretty small camera, as you can see. And I started looking at the 24 to 240 millimeter, and I wasn't sure if the lens would be good enough, because there are not a lot of videos about the lens online, and most of them are more than 5 years old or so, I guess. So I wasn't sure what I was getting, so I decided to just try it, and otherwise just sell it to someone online and maybe make some money on it, or lose some money on it. But at least I could try it. You're not able to rent these lenses. So I tried it a few days ago, and I was quite surprised. And I think the most important thing why I actually like the lens on this camera is because of the camera. And okay, the camera doesn't have a APS-C mode in 4K, but still you can have clear image zoom, and you can zoom in 1.5 times in 4K, and it's not going to give you the best results, of course, but it's already way better than shooting in 1080p. So yeah, and I was just doing a funeral a few days ago, and I had the camera set to the high mode. How is it called? I'm going to check right now. Let's turn the camera to me. I'm not sure. How is it called? What I also really like about this camera is the fact that it's able to boot up really fast. If you have a fx6 or an fx6, it takes quite a while to boot up the camera, but this camera is pretty fast. Let's see. It's called high base, and it's when you can change the camera from high base to low base, and it's almost the same thing as with the A7S III, only the A7S III will automatically change the base ISO, but this camera you have to change between the two modes, and the low base goes up to 5000, or yeah, I think it's 5000 ISO, and if you want to go higher than that, you can change to the high base. So what I basically did, because if you're shooting funerals, there's so much going on, and it's pretty fast moving sometimes. What I did, I changed the camera. I have a custom button. I have on the side there is a custom button 3, and I changed that one to change the base ISO. So with a click of a button, even during recording, I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting to change the base ISO during recording, because I would expect the camera to stop recording, change base ISO, and then start recording again. But I'm really happy that I'm able to do that when I'm recording video. And the other thing I changed, I leave the shutter speed at 50, sometimes 60, because a lot of screens here in the Netherlands, even though we're in the Netherlands and we have a 50 hertz thing here, you know, the if you have ever seen flickering lights, that has to do with the area you're in, and the shutter speed, of course. And they say in the Netherlands, in the PAL area, you have to set your shutter speed to 50. But nowadays we get a lot of bad LEDs and even screens when you dim them, and even phone screens sometimes when you dim them, you will get some flickering in the screens and lights. So most of the times I'm changing it to 60 during a funeral. Otherwise, it looks terrible. And so yeah, I leave that on manual 1/50th of a second. I changed ISO to automatic because I don't care. The camera is good enough in low light. I use the cinetone setting because it's not a film. It's a funeral that I'm live streaming. I want great looking footage online in the live stream, and great footage for editing. I don't have to do a lot of things. With the Z90, I'm shooting in the HLG mode, and I always have to boost the contrast in post, and I will put the exposure to +1 and add sharpening to it. But with this, is already looking so great out of the camera. I don't have to do anything at all. Maybe slight tweaks to the white balance, because I'm not always changing white balance a lot throughout the film, because it's sometimes pretty difficult in some areas to keep changing it throughout the live stream. So yeah, and what I do when I'm going outside, I will just put the electronic ND on. I have it set to automatic, and I change the dial here on the front, the rotating thing. I changed it to change auto exposure. Yeah, and most of the time I leave it at +1. It really depends on if someone comes into the frame with a lot of black clothing or white, that will mess up your your lighting. So that's sometimes when I change it, or when there is a pretty bright screen, and you know. But other than that, I just keep it at that, and it's a. I love the camera. I have the by the way, I have the zoom rocker set to clear image zoom 1.5 times, and with this camera in combination with the 24 to 240, look at it. I'm really loving this setup, and it's also pretty lightweight. It's heavier than the Z90, and but it's more robust, and it's a way better looking camera. I'm really loving it, and I also love the fact that I can have bigger batteries in. This is actually the standard one that came with it. I have bought two BPU 60. I have no idea. It's a pretty big. I have two pretty big batteries. So yeah, I can film for hours, and with the Z90, there are only two types of batteries, and yeah, that's not a lot, and I don't get a lot of hours of that battery. So yeah. Next up, this is not a review, by the way. As you can see already, I would love to see the H.265 codec in this camera, because on the A7S III, I'm able to shoot H.265 4K in 30 megabits per second, and on this camera, if I'm shooting 4K on the fx6, I have to shoot at 100 megabits, and you know, it's better to shoot at higher megabits, at higher bit rates. But for funerals, I would rather have the H.265, because I already have so much hard drives filled up with funerals. I think I shot the funerals in full HD last year, and so that's a 50 megabits bit rate, and I think I have 3.5 external hard drives of 4 terabytes filled up already. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I hope they will add it to this camera, and then I will love it even more. Next up, the tripod. I have used the Benro series, the Benro KH series before. The KH26NL, I guess it's NL. It's a previous version of this. I've had some problems with it. Sometimes when I was panning and tilting, and when I needed to lock the camera, when you lock the camera moves, because it's just a different system. I think they changed that when I'm now locking the camera, the pen or the tilt, they will just stay in place. So they fixed that. And they also have a fluid drag control here on the bottom. It's a blue ring, and I'm not sure if it does a lot. I tried changing it, but I wasn't getting a lot of different experience out of it. I'm not sure. Not sure if it's for. Let's see. I'm not sure if it does a lot, but it's nice that they have something new, and that they at least fixed the issue I had with locking, because that's what I really hated when I was filming a screen where the PowerPoint or the keynote was on, and I had it zoomed into the screen. I had my composition right, and then I needed to lock the camera, and then the camera, it tilted a little bit up or down, and left or right. It just did strange things, and now with this new tripod, it just works way better. So Benro, thank you for this new tripod. Not that I got it for free, because I bought it actually through Amazon. But thank you for creating a even better tripod, a more reliable tripod. They also changed the quick release plates. I will show a picture of that. They changed that a little bit, and yeah, it's a welcome addition. I'm loving it. This is, of course, not a review. This is not a review for the camera, not a review for the lens or the tripod. I will make a video about that in the future. I will try to, because I'm pretty busy with funerals. Sometimes I have 2 a day. So yeah, I will try to make a video about the fx6, about the 24 to 240 lens, because there are not much videos of it online, and not any recent videos. They are 5 years old or so. And I will make a video about the tripod, of course. If you tell me what you want to see, I'm asking you guys all the time this question: what do you like to see? What would you like to see of this camera, of this lens, of this tripod? Let me know. I'm not sure if I can be creative with the tripod. You're limited with options, but let me know what you'd like to see, and see you in the next one. Have a nice day, stay healthy, and that's it. Peace.